Welcome to HDTV. You're now rocking with your boy. The U.S. bombs facilities in Syria used by Iran-backed militia. The United States launched airstrikes in Syria on Thursday, targeting facilities near the Iraqi border used by Iranian-backed militia groups. The Pentagon said the strikes were retaliation for a rocket attack in Iraq earlier this month that killed one civilian contractor and wounded a U.S. service member and other coalition troops. The airstrike was the first military action undertaken by the Biden administration, which in its first weeks has emphasized its intent to put more focus on challenges posed by China, even as Mideast threats persist. Biden's decision to attack in Syria did not appear to signal an intention to widen U.S. military involvement in the region, but rather to demonstrate a will to defend U.S. troops in Iraq. I'm confident in the target that we went after. We know what we hit, Defense Secretary Lloyd Austin told reporters flying with him from California to Washington. Speaking shortly after the airstrikes, he added, "We're confident that that target was being used by the same Shia militants that conducted the strikes," referring to a February 15th rocket attack in northern Iraq that killed one civilian contractor and wounded a U.S. service member and other coalition personnel. Austin said he recommended the action to Biden. "We said a number of times that we will respond on our timeline." Austin said we wanted to be sure of the connectivity and we wanted to be sure that we had the right targets. Earlier, Pentagon spokesman John Kirby said the U.S. action was a proportionate military response taken together with diplomatic measures, including consultation with coalition partners. The operation sends an unambiguous message. President Biden will act to protect American and coalition personnel, Kirby said. At the same time, we have acted in a deliberate manner that aims to de-escalate the overall situation in eastern Syria and Iraq. Kirby said the U.S. airstrikes destroyed multiple facilities at a border control point used by a number of Iranian-backed militant groups, including Kataib Hezbollah and Kataib Saeed al-Shuhada. The U.S. has blamed Kataib Hezbollah for numerous attacks targeting U.S. personnel and interests in Iraq in the past. Further details were not immediately available. Mary Ellen O'Connell, a professor at Notre Dame Law School, criticized the U.S. attack as a violation of international law. The United Nations Charter makes absolutely clear that the use of military force on the territory of a foreign, sovereign state is lawful only in response to an armed attack on the defending state for which the target state is responsible. She said none of those elements is met in the Syria strike. Biden administration officially condemned the February 15th rocket attack near the city of Erbil in Iraq's semi-autonomous Kurdish Run region. But as recently as this week, officials indicated they had not determined for certain who carried it out. Officials have noted that in the past, Iranian-backed Shiite militia groups have been responsible for numerous rocket attacks that targeted U.S. personnel or facilities in Iraq. Kirby has said Tuesday that Iraq is in charge of investigating the February 15th attack. Right now, we're not able to give you a certain attribution as to who is behind these attacks, what groups, and I'm not going to get into the tactical details of every bit of weaponry used here, Kirby said. Let's let the investigations complete and conclude, and then we will have more to say. We will. A little-known Shiite militant group called itself Syria al-Aliyah al-Dam, Arabic for Guardians of Blood Brigade, claimed responsibility for the February 15th attack. A week later, a rocket attack in Baghdad's Green Zone appeared to target the U.S. Embassy compound, but no one was hurt. Iran this week said it has no links to the Guardians of Blood Brigade. The frequency of attacks by Shiite militia groups against U.S. targets in Iraq diminished late last year ahead of President Joe Biden's inauguration. Though now Iran is pressing America to return to Tehran's 2015 nuclear deal, the U.S. under the previous Trump administration blamed backed group for carrying out the attacks. Tensions soared after a Washington directed drone strike that killed top Iranian General Qasem Soleimani and powerful Iraqi militia leader Abu Mahdi al Muhandis last year. Man. Trump has said the death of a U.S. contractor will be a red line and provoke U.S. escalation in Iraq. The December 2019 killing of a U.S. civilian contractor in a rocket attack in Kirkuk sparked a tit for tat fight on Iraqi soil that brought the country to the brink of a proxy war. U.S. forces have been significantly reduced in Iraq to 2,500 personnel and no longer partake in combat missions with Iraqi forces in ongoing operations against the Islamic State group. Man, I mean, to me, it's like this. It's like the U.S., we always use our force to try to solve a problem instead of being diplomatic and going to talk about it. Now, those who have been killed and wounded, I pray that they're doing okay, and I pray for their families, because that's hard to deal with when you have a family member in war and having to deal with going into countries where every day, you that could be your last day. So to me, the problem I have is this. The U.S. is known for doing this. Every time a president change happens, they're known to go to war or they're known to bomb something. And to me, bombing the area, are you sure that was the right area? This is the thing I have a problem with. The U.S. is always hiding stuff from the public. They're always telling us bits and pieces of things that make them look good. But instead of them telling the truth, which will let you decide whether that side is correct or this side is correct, they take it in their own hands to say, you know what, just believe us. We're America. We don't do nothing wrong. Yeah, y'all don't do nothing wrong, but y'all still gunning black people down, right? And not only that, you still treating black people like crap. And especially when it comes to wealth and the incomes, it's vastly different. And every year, the pink folk get way more money and get way more benefits and cuts than blacks. Blacks, we get taxed higher, we get charged higher for things. So I'm not taking a word from America. I think that, to me, they just wanted to go there and bogart some land and basically bogart some troops so they can have more power, more military power. So then they could basically go after China, basically letting China know, look, we're for real. But at the end of the day, I have to do more research into this because I'm not very privy to it. So if you're in the comment section, let me know what's going on. Tell me, do you believe the US and they bombed the right place? Or do you believe this is just another US move trying to be gangster and bogart another country? Or do you feel that Syria was in the wrong? To me, like I said, I'm not exonerating Syria. They did wrong by bombing and do what they did, but you have to understand there's different groups in those countries. You can't just say this group did something when it may have been this group. You have to make sure your intel is correct. You have to make sure your spies or whoever you have over there working undercover for you got the right intel and got the right information, because if you get the wrong information, then you're going to be going to war for no reason. And that's what the US, to me, has been looking like the past decades and the past millennia, that they're going to war just to go to war instead of acting on information. They're just getting information and spewing it out there to make it seem like, oh, well, this is why we're going to war, because they did this wrong and they disrespected us. They walked on our lawn, when it may have never been that. They just probably just wanted to go over there and just do something and just take land and bogart the government and take their people. That they could have done that. So America's not exonerated from this either. To me, I hope the truth comes out so we can decide as the public what's right and what's wrong. Thank you for listening, and we are out. Deezy.